If you have a business and your simple business information is not listed in a large number of locations and it's not accurate, the gatekeepers of the online world, search engines, LLMs, AEO, SEO, whatever you want to call it, they're constantly scouring, scanning, and analyzing the web using that as a heuristic. And so growth industries for over a decade have known about this. We call it NAPW, name, address, phone number, website.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of CBS Spotlight. If you're here by mistake, you are in the right place now. I'm Eric Alvarado, along with my co-host, Mr. Ted Hikes, and we are your friendly guides through this world of insurance and wealth management. And today on our show, we've got Mr. John Swystun, who is the president and CEO of Auxesys. John, welcome. Did I miss anything?
Crushed it, Eric. Nailed it. First try. Way to go.
That was tough. So, John, you've mentioned that the adoption has been so slow and is just barely starting to take off now. What do you think is the reason behind that, or why has the industry been so slow to adopt, the testimonials and adding them to the social media, knowing that it's been such a successful boon in other industries?
Yeah, well, in the larger institutions and bank wirehouse, obviously, it's very difficult to write a very large ship. So I think they're just naturally slow adopters of new tactics. In the independent channel, I think it loops back towards, it kind of aligns with personality, business model, client experience, client expectations, right? This is frankly a pretty conservative and risk averse space, and for good reason, right? It's like, if your advisor were to present you with plans and scenarios, you wouldn't want low probability stuff, right? You want some risk analysis, some mitigation, and some high probability. And so this is something that's new to the space, and they don't quite yet know how to analyze and peg the probability. I would wager that it's very few boards and executive teams that are able to run an NPV analysis on launching a review and testimonial program across, let's say, a mega RIA, right? It's just early innings for the space. And so that's what boards and executive teams in this industry typically need to allocate budget. And it does take budget and a lot of planning and a lot of lead time. It's multiple phases to run a play like this. And so it makes sense. I think it's just there's really only two functions, and neither of them you can really force. One of them is the function of demographics. The younger and younger that boards and executive teams get, the more open to these tactics they will be. And the other, I forget. See, I told you I'd let the dumbness shine. I got the retention of a goldfish right here.
Oh, yeah.
The other, I think, is outside capital. We see the trends in the space, right?
Yeah.
There's trillions of dollars of dry powder flooding into the space, right, chasing growth, right? We're moving away from more lifestyle stuff. The consolidation and aggregation is taking play. And those teams, those board and executive teams now, they have serious mandates. And so they'll be scouring the earth looking for the truffles, and online reviews and testimonials, very tasty.
Those truffles, yeah.
Very, very valuable.
So you'd have the right pig to find them, though, huh?
I maybe should back up my steps. Can we re-record that one? The metaphor did not play out. Great respect and admiration for those boards and for those executive teams, right? And the way I see it, I want to like cover my tracks here a bit and really get our ethos out, because the metaphor just came to me on the fly. But what we really believe, and I know this, is that as cool as technology gets, as great as AI is, as amazing as all the apps on my phone and automated stuff and robo stuff is, right? It's like, at the end of the day, as my life progresses, the demographics function as I lay out, it's like the more and more I need a human advisor, a human fiduciary, and not just a professional, not just an expert, somebody I have a relationship with, somebody who my wife has on speed dial, right, somebody who I know truly cares about me and my family's well-being, and who can help me with, frankly, I'm very bullish on AI and technology, but it's like, this stuff is so complicated. and humans by and far are the best machine designed yet by nature to solve for many of these problems. So
yeah, absolutely. I look at, and you correct me if I'm wrong here, but the online reviews is, I would, I look at that as one of probably the many fundamentals in the space that you support your partner firms in. Can you talk a little bit about, some of those other core elements that most firms overlook in terms of having a strong online presence, digital marketing approach?
Yes. Are you ready to get a little nerdy, everybody?
I am a giant nerd, so fire away.
Well, right. Ready, so.
Okay, this is the part where half the audience's eyes glaze over or they lean in. So, which person are you? That might be a predictor of your growth trajectory over the next 10 years. The real fundamentals of traditional marketing are brand identity, brand platform, communications, messaging, positioning, differentiation, value proposition. We know and understand that. I am a weirdo in that I believe that marketing actually is all encompassing. You've probably had a lot of discussion or debates like, what's the definition of marketing, right? Does anybody forage a definition of marketing? Like, 6 P's. Have everybody heard 5 P's? Product, place, have you heard these definitions?
Not me. Yep.
What I really believe about marketing is, if you think about marketing, it's very esoteric, strange, like opaque idea. It's a lot easier to get a grip on if we just think about the noun market. This is an industry that really has a deep understanding of markets as a noun, from the farmer's market to the grocery store to the online market platform to the New York Stock Exchange. We're surrounded by markets, right? It's the place where commerce occurs. And so, to my way of thinking, marketing is simply the way that a business navigates the market and helps the market navigate itself. And so that's the traditional fundamentals of marketing. The next level up in our view at Auxesys is, how does that play out online? How does that play out in the digital world? And what we've discovered, what I've discovered over the last couple of decades of my digital journey, is that there really are like a couple of handfuls of really core fundamentals. And a lot of them are technical, and this is the nerdy part that starts to get a bit dry. But for those who actually pay attention here, the spoils are serious. They are reviews and testimonials, as you mentioned, Ted, and as we've gone over. Massive driver of online performance. And it's very simple why. All of the online gatekeepers really have one MO, and that's to please their users and to keep them coming back. And so they use sets of heuristics to figure out what's trustworthy, what's authoritative, what's reliable, what's going to please my users if I present it to them on the screen. And businesses that have a huge number of high quality reviews and testimonials, these machines and bots and systems and platforms, they're crawling the web trying to analyze that, aggregate that, run the heuristic and say, should we present these businesses to our users? Will they make them happy? Will that increase the likelihood that they load up the search engine or the LLM or the whatever it is the next day? So huge pillar. Then the other stuff is stuff like digital listings. How many places online of high repute does your business appear? How accurate and consistent are those listings? And this is where most of the professional services fall flat, but wealth management, and in particular RIA, gets nearly failing grades across the boards. I show this to executives, I show this to boards all of the time, and a lot of the time it's tough to connect the dots here. But if you have a business and your simple business information is not listed in a large number of locations and it's not accurate, the gatekeepers of the online world, search engines, LLMs, AEO, SEO, whatever you want to call it, they're constantly scouring, scanning, and analyzing the web using that as a heuristic. And so growth industries for over a decade have known about this. We call it NAPW, name, address, phone number, website. And if you were to run an analysis on most RIAs, you would find two things: very, very few number of listing locations and high degree of inaccuracy. The names are changing, the phone numbers are changing, the locations are changing, right? Imagine if you went to a conference and you came back with a stack of business cards. You had 5 business cards from one person, and they all had a different phone number and a different email and a different address on it and all the rest of it. Like, would you spend time like calling all 5 numbers? Like, you just focus on the ones that you knew were reliable, right? Same thing on the web. So those are 2 of the core ones. And then it gets out into other stuff like core web vitals, web speeds, mobile optimization, conversion rate optimization, offers and offer marketing, and then, a bunch of other stuff. But the one I'll stop on is the data layer. And this is another one where the RIA channel and wealth management more broadly gets failing grades across the board. I'll pose this one as a question. You ever had that weird experience where you're hanging out, maybe you're having drinks with another couple, and they start talking about mattresses, and then you wake up the next day and you see mattress ads on your feed?
Every day. Every day.
Yep.
And the common response is, oh, my phone's listening to me, Facebook's spying on me, or whatever it is, right?
Yep. They're not.
The answer is like they could be, right? But they don't need to be. It's much simpler than that, right? That's what these systems are designed to do. That's done through tagging, tracking, audience building, audience expansion, and remarketing, right? And so you have a device in your pocket that geolocates you of almost every second of every day. And so if your friends were talking about mattresses, it's likely they were scrolling mattresses, and your 2 devices were near each other for drinks. And the gatekeepers of online information knew that. They're predictive analytic machines. They can predict when you're going to get divorced. They can predict when you're going to change jobs. They can predict all sorts of life events with astonishingly high accuracy. And that one data point about the conversations about mattresses, that's one source of a web, right? Like, you're about the same age, you're about the right age, these other life events have happened to you. Like, there's so much data that these online gatekeepers have about you. So it's no surprise that, they showed you a mattress ad with beautiful timing. This is tools and techniques that the wealth management channel is like barely using at all. And they have the potential to be super, super effective for this channel. I describe it. You can see why, right? So much of wealth management is based around life events and all sorts of stuff happening. And so really, really key. Growth industries, I use the example of SaaS because they were heavy engineering, right? When SaaS companies, software as a service companies, built marketing teams, it's like, who do we have around to do the marketing for us? Computer engineers? Right? It's like, well, they know how to build websites. They know how to engineer fast, reliant, performant stuff that the gatekeepers really care about. And they know how to do the data engineering, the tagging, the tracking, the remarketing, set up the accounts, the structures, fire the right pixels, fire all the right stuff that tells the audiences, right? So if you go to a modern SaaS website, I'm going to end on this story, and I know this is a bit of a diatribe, but maybe one of the most important things for this channel to figure out. If you go to a SaaS website or an e-commerce website, let's say you go to Salesforce's website, or you go to Van Cleef or something, or you go to Rolex or whatever, you visit the website, right? Chances are in the next week, you're going to open up Instagram and you're going to see an ad both for the specific brand that you were looking at, because they tagged you and now they're remarketing to you, or for other competitors that are now bidding on that knowledge that you are in market for those products or services. Mm-hmm. The RIA channel barely does this. Crazy. And what you will find, I would propose this to advisors and executives alike. Pretend you're in market for your own services and act like that for a week online. What you will find is you wake up the next week and you are not remarketed to by wealth management, independent wealth management teams, very much. RIA channel especially struggles here. What you get instead is robo, fintech, SaaS, crazy schemes, coaches, courses. Bank Wirehouse is decent at this. The biggest of them do a decent job of it. But the RIA channel, by and large, is missing a huge, huge opportunity. And right now, we know that consumer purchasing behavior is different right now than it has ever been. The linear path from, need, ask, referral, meeting, close business, it just doesn't really exist anymore. In rare cases, it does. Now it's all about the messy middle. And there's all this research out there about, you've probably heard the studies. Oh, it takes 8 touches to close a professional services deal. It takes 23 touches. It's like, no, it takes like 180 to 250, right?
Yeah.
It takes so many. And if you can nail those fundamentals, oh gosh, you can soak up so many of them, and you tilt the psychological game in your favor. You tilt your audience towards persuasion. So that's just a few of the fundamentals.
So,
but have more.
This is a little eye-opening to me because, obviously we all have that conversation like, oh, we were talking about mattresses last night. And those conversations are so trivial, right? But when you're talking to somebody or you're with somebody who may be having, you're having a conversation as it relates to finances, something that would impact a wealth management firm or an RIA, those are powerful conversations. Those are powerful interactions. And I know just as a consumer, I would be much more likely to click on that because that's something that has vastly more importance to me as an individual than a Rolex watch or a mattress. That stuff I can do any day of the week. But, if I'm thinking about my future, my financial well-being, my family's financial well-being, that is a powerful, powerful touch point.
Dude, Ted, that's brilliant. And that's such a key insight, right? Is the mattress business model, the e-commerce business model, the SaaS business model, they're decent business models and they're reasonably high need for consumers. This channel, what is the value proposition of this channel? It's so valuable, so useful, so life altering, right? And then it's supported by business economics that are just crazy. This is why the outside capital is so interested in the space. This is a recurring revenue machine, this industry. The client lifetime value over the cost of acquiring the client in these channels is absolutely wild. So exactly what you just said, Ted, is so why we're so bullish on the space at this time, right? If a lot of these key players get their house in order and figure this out, holy smokes, look out, right? And it will very much please the client, right? It's a very pleasing thing when your online activity really supports and tilts you towards those life challenges that you're trying to solve and the things that you're trying to do to protect your family and loved ones.
Yeah, and if I'm a mega RIA and I don't, but you've got offices all over the country, right? So this is much more impactful for a mega RIA, I would think, than even your local, not mom and pop shop, but if you've got one or two offices locally, that's important for them. But if I'm a mega RIA and I have offices spread out all over the country and I can really deploy this in a countrywide or, whatever that is, that's a powerful, powerful tool.
Hugely powerful. And I will say, there's a lot of opportunity for the aggregator integrators, the capitalized players, the mega RAs, the national scale enterprise players, right? But there's right now a moment in time, a pocket in time. I predict in 3 years, this is going to be completely adopted, right? It'll have to be if we want to solve these challenges, is the way I see this, inevitable stuff we're talking about here. But we're at this moment in time where even for smaller players, even for small budgets, right? There's really 3 pillars to it that the space hasn't figured out. They haven't figured out the data layer, the audience expansion, the lookalike audiences. They haven't figured out the paid channels, and a paid playbook for high trust professional services is very difficult to figure out. And they haven't figured out the offer marketing. You can't just put book a meeting in front of a paid ad audience. You can't just put learn more, get started. These are offers. They don't convert. They're not interesting. You have to create a value asymmetry. It's very easy for me to do the thing to advance to the next stage, and the thing I get at the next stage is huge. It takes a crazy, whacked out creative mind to think about what's the value asymmetry that I can create, right? And most of the space is just well, I just got to get them on a call. It's no, we've got to get way more inventive. There's so much more value that we can provide the clientele far earlier on in the modern client journey if we just express our creative muscles and thinking. And so to the point that you made there, Ted, is yes, massive opportunity, huge multiplicative opportunity for mega RIAs and enterprises. But even if you are a smaller player, even if you're mid or low market, right now, to circle back to your question about what are the fundamentals, we did a 15-factor analysis of the core fundamentals of a great online presence. nearly failing grades across the board. I can show you the heat maps. They're painted orange and red. The leapfrog opportunity for almost any player in the space is massive. So for those even small businesses that took a first principles approach and said, I'm going to get some of these core pillars really sorted out up to like an A-level grade across the board, the opportunity to leapfrog and nearly block out the sun from a lot of those other competitors is really, really huge.
Wow.
All right, John. Well, part 2 of this conversation with you has been amazing. If I gave you 30 seconds to really hit the fundamentals of digital marketing, what would those be?
Straight up, Ted, I think I'll pass.
Okay.
If you are, if you're an RIA owner, an exec, a board member, and you aren't already 100% convinced that absolutely crushing your digital marketing, your online presence, nailing the fundamentals, and drastically improving your sophistication, both in the art and the science, isn't a massive growth lever critical to your next decade of success, there's nothing I can say that'll convince you. So I won't waste my energy trying. There's plenty of folks out there who I don't need to convince, and we're having a lot of fun with them. So that's where we'll spend our time, energy, and attention.
Okay, great. I mean, that makes a lot of sense. If it makes a difference, you convince me. So I don't happen to own an RIA. I wish I did, but you convinced me. So,
John, that was excellent. Very mind-blowing. Thanks for dropping the knowledge on us. We appreciate that. Any last thoughts or anything that you want to say as we close out?
I'm just excited to find like-minded folks. Ancillary services, organic growth, insurance, annuities, digital marketing. It's just incredible how much opportunity is out there right now. And I really believe that there's we're all being called to adventure, amazing socioeconomic benefit to be provided by these channels, the channels that we support. So it's an honor to enter the arena alongside fine folks like yourselves. So thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah, 100%.
And for everyone out there, I'm Eric Alvarado with my co-host, Mr. Ted Hikes. This has been CBS Spotlight, your friendly conversation about insurance and wealth advising come together. Thanks for tuning in. If you like this episode, go ahead and give us a like and support us. And we'll catch you next time. Thank you.
And before we're done, John, can you tell people where to find you?
Right.
Ooh, this is the most fun part. I won't bore you with the military alphabet and the spelling. So hopefully my name and my company's name are in the show notes below. It's John Swystun at Auxesys. You can find us at auxesys.com. I'm very active on LinkedIn, and I'm here to make friends, to have a good time, and to go on some wild and amazing adventures with some incredible professionals. So reach out anytime, and I'd love to meet anybody in the space who's got some amazing business challenges, goals, and objectives. So I appreciate the opportunity to connect with people in the space. It's been an absolute honor. I love the professionals in these channels. It was an amazing, happy benefit. We entered the space kind of, for economic reasons, and for we were between a rock and a hard place in our current business. And we have just been blown away by the warmth, by the welcoming, by the activities, by the events, by the enthusiasm, and the uptick. And so I just want to express my sincere gratitude. Amazing friendships, amazing relationships, yourselves included. Thank you so much.
We really appreciate it. Thanks, John.
Take care, everyone.